Hey everybody, Lars here. It's late. It's getting late. It's 5 minutes to midnight. But I did want to jump on and do this program so you have something live and in person. We did the class earlier today, so I just saw you a little bit before, and I've been jumping around doing a whole bunch of stuff. But I wanted to jump in here and do something so you can see a program from stem to stern. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I have a whole bunch of idols over there, and Python, and my Spider, and my Jupyter, and my RStudio, and all of my computer nerd junk. Let's see. I'm going to say new file. And what we are going to do tonight, really quick, because I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time, and I don't want to waste your time either, is I'm just going to whip up what I call the penny program. And the penny program is this. You're going to ask the user for an amount of pennies. And then we're going to tell the user at first, when I first started doing this, I did quarters. I said, let's see how many quarters are in there. But then slowly but surely, we're going to look at quarters. Then we're going to find the dimes, the nickels, and the pennies. And we're going to back everything out. And we're going to do it the right way. First thing I'm always going to do is I'm going to put in some comments. I'm going to put my name in there. Lars is good enough for now. I am a member of the Funny Ethnic Name Club. So often my first name is enough. And I will just call this the penny program. Okay, so now we look at the top of the code and we kind of know what's going on. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to print some banners just to let people know, hey, the penny program is here. Now you can delimit your strings with double quotes or single quotes. I think the default for Python is single quotes. The thing is, and I'll show you, is that either works. The only thing is that you have to stay consistent. So if you want to use double quotes in your, now I can't find the double quotes in your text, then delimit with single quotes. If you want to use single quotes in your text, delimit with double quotes. Okay, and just be consistent on either side and you'll be okay. Print the penny program. Let's see. That looks about right. Good enough for now. And then we will print, I'll close it off. All right, so it's the first thing I want to do. First thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the user to tell me what the pennies are. So pennies equals int input. How many pennies do you have? Question mark, space, end it. And I just said the default is single and I'm doing double. So we're going to use the input, and I don't have my parentheses balanced. That's why idle is not playing nicely. We're going to use the input, but we're going to wrap it in int, so we have an integer at the end of the day, and then that value is going to be put into pennies. So when this runs, I'm going to have whatever I enter put into the variable penny. So now, what do we want to do? Let's use a comment and tell the programmer who's looking at this code that the first thing we're going to do is determine how many quarters there are. And how are we going to do that? We are going to create a variable called quarters. And what would quarters be equal to? Pennies, what? Integer division, 25, right? And then we're going to print. I'm going to make this real easy because I know where we're going. We'll go that. Quarters. Okay. So now, real quick, I'm going to run it. I think I have to save it. Yes, I do. We'll call it pennies. And I'm going to run it. And there's all my junk. You can see the double quotes get printed out. The single quotes get printed out. As long as you use the other one, you can do it. How many pennies do you have? I will say I have 234. I use that number in my other videos too. And that is 9 quarters. That is correct. Because 225 pennies would be 9 quarters, and then there's 9 left over, okay? So with this simple, goofy program right here, We're done. All right, see you later. Bye. Blah, blah. Now we're going to do a lot more. First thing, I guess I can leave the pennies there the way they are. First thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, okay, we did the quarters. Let's do the dimes. But right off the bat, I would say determine the dimes. But there's an issue here. When we did the quarters, we just printed it out. We didn't alter our penny pile. In other words, we didn't take our penny pile and remove all the quarters that we accounted for. That's still, in terms of the run we did here, 234 pennies. So what we really want to do is back that out. All right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to update pennies. And we're going to say pennies now equals pennies minus what? We have the variable, we might as well use it, quarters times 25, because we want to remove that many pennies. Okay? So when we do that, we'll just check it out real quick. I'm going to use the same variable, so we have a control. It's going to tell us 9. Okay? So we know that there are 9 pennies left in there. So that's a good thing, because now we know that our pennies have the quarters removed from them, so they're ready to be looked at as far as the dimes. If you want, as you can see what I just did, you can stick a number sign in front. Oh, wait for it, coffee break. You can see you can stick a number sign or an octothorpe in front of any line and make it a comment. That's called commenting out the code. So that way that pennies is there so we can print it out and test things later, but I don't have to delete it per se. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to do the same thing I did up there. I'm going to say dimes equals pennies and what? Integer division 10. And that's how many dimes are there. All right? And then I'm going to print dimes, comma, capital dimes. All right? We're going to want to use a different number this time to test things. And then I'm going to say pennies is pennies minus what? Dimes, but this time times 10, because we want to remove them from our penny pile. All right? So we'll do it this time and we'll run it. And I'll say how many pennies instead of 234, because I'm a schmotty, I'm going to do 236. And it's going to tell me I have 9 quarters and 1 dimes. 1 dimes, why, it's singular, not plural. We'll worry about that some other time. We're going to go with the plurals for now. We're going to fix something else in a little bit, but we're going to stick with the plurals for right now. Okay? So, what are we going to do now? We're going to do nickels, but instead of typing the whole thing over again, let's cut, copy, and paste that code right there. And just where it says dimes, put nickels. Okay, where it says dimes here, for the variable, just put nick. 10, make sure you make that 5. Here, make sure it says nick. Yeah, here, there's a lot of places to change it. I don't know how much time we're saving. We'll make that say nickels. Pennies, nick. Times, you only want to do 5. Okay? And then when you get to the end, you just have to print the pennies, because there's no real math to do. So you just do print pennies, comma, open pennies. Okay? So, what is something that's going to give us everything we want to see? Think I know. Think I know. How many pennies do you have? I'm going to say I have 241 pennies, and that is going to say you have 9 quarters, 225, 1 dime, 235, 1 nickel, 240, and 1 penny, 241. Okay? So we gave our program a pile of pennies. I'm going to run it again. I'm hitting Control S, F5, and that's going to run my program again, and I can give it some psycho amount. And it's going to tell me a whole bunch of quarters. 0 dimes, 1 nickel, 1 pennies. I, ladies and gentlemen, just got very lucky, because what we're going to do next has to do with something that happened there. What happened? Notice the pregnant pause in order for you to solve the question yourself. What's going on there that looks a little weird? 0 dimes, yeah? If there's no dimes, why bother put it to the screen? Why report it? Let's see if we can somehow alter our program to make it look a little better. So if there are no dimes, we don't print it to the screen. It's actually not that hard with some of the stuff that we've learned already. What we're going to do is this, and I'm going to start with the quarters. I'm going to say if quarters is not equal to, but not equal to 0, that means something is there, then I'll print quarters. But if there are no quarters, if it's 0, and we'll do some examples, then I'm not going to print anything. Okay? So we're going to do that for all of our things. If dimes is not equal to 0, then print dimes. So that's underneath there. If Nick is not equal to 0, and yes, I'll go space that other one out, then print that, right? We can even do it with the pennies right there. If pennies not equal to 0, bang. Now, colon, after the if, you're always going to see that indent, okay? Because we're starting our block 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so now let's say when I rerun the program, I'm going to give it 24. Okay, so the first thing it looks at is the quarters. All right, when it does that math, quarters is 0. Okay, so if you can see where integer math is coming into play all of a sudden. So if quarters is not equal to 0, well, that's not true because it is 0. So it skips that line. It does the pennies. Now quarters is 0. Okay, so pennies doesn't minus anything. Pennies is just pennies. It's still 24. So it goes through that whole process and doesn't do anything. Here, it'll be easier if we run the damn thing and you can see it. Penny program, how many pennies do you have? I'm going to say 24. And all of a sudden it's 2 dimes and 4 pennies, which is right. That's the right change for that particular situation. Okay? So now if I rerun and I give it my 234, okay? Doesn't even mention the dimes because it's not there. 4 quarters, 1 nickels, 4 pennies. All right, boom, 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 12:08. Where did we start? 5:00, I said. So within 13, 14 minutes, we're good to go. We already have a little program here, all right? And this program wasn't inconsequential. We did a lot of cool stuff that used what you learned in Unit 1, right? We used if. We used some of the conditionals there with the not equal to. We're setting variables, all right? We're using the print here. We're using our comments. And we're doing the comments properly. We're using floor division or integer division. All right, so we're doing some programming here. We're getting some interesting things done. And what you can do is, well, you know what? Truth be told, I'll take pennies and I will put the code up in your Unit 1 folder. So if you want to bring this code down and play around with it, you can do that. Or, and it's always a good thing to think about, you can type it in yourself. And you're going to learn this when you start playing around with Learn Python the hard way. It's always a good idea to type code in yourself. Because if you type it in yourself, you know what happens? You make mistakes. There's typos. But the thing is this. In order to fix those typos, you have to understand what the program's supposed to be doing so you learn. You're repairing your program. And as you're repairing your program, you're learning. All right? So we always tell programmers, don't just cut and paste. Don't cut and paste code. Get a copy of it and copy it. Actually type it in. Because then when you go back and correct those typos, you're fixing things. You're making your code work. All right? So this is just real flat out simple. This is the penny program. Some other times in other iterations, and any of you who are savvy, YouTube-y kind of people know that I don't take my videos down. I leave them up. I've got all my videos since, I think, 2015 for this class up on YouTube. So if you want to go ahead and look at stuff or look at some different things and blah, 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 you can do it. Just promise me that you're going to watch these videos that I tell you to watch for this particular class, because I'm going to have hints and I'm going to have different things, especially these videos. Whenever you see the splash screen in front, when it's blue, that means it pertains to one half of the slides. And it may be a canned video. It may be something I shot last fall or something I shot last spring. Okay? When you see a purple screen, that means it's fresh. And when I mean fresh, that means I shot it this semester. And I'm talking about this class. And I'm talking about the things that we're doing and we're talking about. Okay? What I may do is I may not only get you the link to this video after I put it up on YouTube. I don't know how long that process is going to take. This is going to be another long one. And I'll go find a link to an old video where I did the Fahrenheit Celsius converter program. And you can look at how that's done too. Like I said, the whole thing is to just take away your reticence, to take away any, problem you have. It's like, oh, how am I going to start? Blank page, writer's block. How do I start doing a program? What do I do? How do I do it? This is it. It's not hard. There is nothing in my hands and there is nothing up my sleeve, I promise you. Okay? I apologize. I got a bunch of stuff to do, so I'm going to make this a short one. I'll do... The next time I do one of these live ones will be Unit 2. I forget what I do. I think I do the Oilers 6 video. You will know what I'm talking about when you get to the Oilers 6. I will do a bunch of announcements. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories about the origin of this class, why we do things the way we do things, how we do things, how my gear is going to constantly break around me as we keep going, and you'll see exactly what the deal is. Usually, at this point, February of a Python class, I will be complaining about the New York Islanders, because in the fall I complain about the Mets. They're terrible and they're not around. And in the spring I usually complain about the Islanders. But, suck it, Ranger fans, the New York Islanders are in first place right now. Okay? Miracle of all miracles, it's the NHL All-Star break, and the Islanders are in first place in the Metro. And they just lost their best player last year, for those of you not following the NHL. So I usually bitch and moan about the Islanders, but I can't right now. They're in first place. How can I complain? I can't. I will. Trust me, because they'll find a way to blow it. But right now, I can't. All right, so we're going to cut it short. I can't complain about the Islanders. It's taking away all my gusto. All right, I'm getting out of here. You be good. Keep engaging with the resources. Do the exercises. Do the assignments. All right, I'm going to chime in a couple of times before quiz day, and then I'm going to open up the quiz on Saturday. And then you'll have some time to do it before the Super Bowl, and you'll be able to get that done. And then you'll understand, hey, the anatomy of a unit. Work with the resources. Read the slides. Read the Zell. Look at the videos, okay? Do your post. Don't forget your forum post. Yeah, this week was just an introduction, so it was kind of easy. But moving forward, going to have a TED Talk. Going to talk about that TED Talk, all right? Assignments. You're going to get 2 assignments. Usually there's a medium strength one, and usually there's one that's a little more difficult. All right? It's always going to use whatever you learned in your slides that particular week, and then we're going to do the quiz. And that's it. All right? So it's not hard. I want you to get used to kind of like the structure of how we do things so you can start timing things out. And I want to warn you, don't fall into that trap where, hey, this Python is easy, so I'm going to wait till the last minute. All right? Unit 3 will burn you. Will burn you alive. Engage with the resources early, then do the assignments as a practitioner, then report out as the expert with the quiz. Do it in that order. Once things get released, start engaging with the resources so you can get a couple of different codes. If you wait till the last minute for Unit 3, you're not going to be a happy person. If you start right away with Unit 3, you're going to time it out perfectly. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be easy. It's not hard. It's not a ton of work at the end of the day. But it's slightly complex. What you learn builds upon the next thing you learn and so forth. So you try to do that the night before, you're going to be SOL. All right? I digress. I don't want to go on too far. I'm going to get out of here. You be good, and I'll see you the next time we shoot one of these videos. All right? Take care. Bye.